ಇದರಿಂದ ಕೊನೆ ತೆರಿನ ನಾಚ ಬದಚ್ಕೊ ನಂಟಿಲ ಮೇಲೆ ಕಿಯ ಪಾನಿಕೊ
ಪುಂಜಿದೆ ಅನ್ಕದ ಹಲೋ Welcome back. Happy Friendship Day once again. So sorry, we had some technical connection issue and we couldn't, but praise God, we are back. So happy Friendship Day once again. So to the people who have joined us, hearty welcome. So this is Nanda Kumar K V at iLead Tax Academy, the founder and CEO and the chief trainer here. So thank you very much for joining us today. And to all the beloved students also, hearty welcome, right? So we'll just get started. Just to give you a quick overview, we started, but again, there were some technical issues. We had to again start it again. So quickly, we'll just walk you through what we are doing. So today we will be starting up with part 2, business taxation, and then questions on representation. So please give it a look. And a few notes that I follow. Let's get started. There are 3 tips I'll be talking to you progressively. We are doing the business paper now. So here we go with the very first question, right? Which of the following is not a characteristic of the sole proprietorship? Yeah. Which of the following is not a characteristic of sole proprietorship? Okay. This question has already been answered. People are still answering it. Very good. Fine. So let's take a look at these options. So as you take a look at these options, we see that, option A is sole proprietor can transfer his appreciated assets to and from the business activity without incurring a tax liability. So sole proprietor itself means that it's an unincorporated business. It's an unincorporated business. It means it's not registered and is free to transfer the assets, right? And then it says, the second option, it says a sole proprietorship is a separate legal entity. Hey, come on. How can a sole proprietorship be a separate legal entity? No way. A sole proprietorship is not a separate legal entity, right? The entity, something happens to the business, then both the business assets and the personal assets get affected. And that's the very reason why we advise clients to form a company, because you get that corporate wheel and the liability is also limited, right? What is the third option? It says income from business is generally subject to self-employment taxes. Yes, a sole proprietor is subject to self-employment taxes, right? So that's why if you can form an S corporation, you can avoid self-employment taxes. A sole proprietor is somebody who is certainly subject to self-employment taxes, right? Of course, you get one half of that as deduction, as an adjustment to income, but that is something you cannot avoid. Now, the next one, the last one, it says income and expenses of the proprietorship retain their character when reported by the proprietor. Obviously. So the question here was, which of the following is not a characteristic of sole proprietorship? And as people have rightly answered, the right answer is B. Fine. Let's take a look at the next question. A domestic liability with at least two members that doesn't form 8832 entity classification is classified as Okay, please remember you have only 2 minutes, okay? You just have Maggie minutes, okay? Maggie time to crack the examination. You cannot take much time for each question. Okay, let's take a look at this question. Fine, it says a domestic limited liability with at least two members that does not file Form 8832 entity classification election is classified as, okay. Now see, I think students, we have learnt it, right? If you have made an entity classification election, now let's say you want to elect it as a C Corp, then you file something called as Form 8832, which the question rightly speaks here, right? Form 8832. Now, if you want to elect it as an S corporation, you file something known as Form 2553. Yes or no, right? Now, in this case, the question says a domestic limited liability company, right? Let me appear here. Yeah, fine. A domestic limited liability company with at least two members that does not file Form 8832 entity classification election is classified as, okay, the first one, partnership. Okay, why partnership? Because they have not made an election. So if they have not made an election, so by default it is going to be partnership, right? Obviously, isn't it? The very C corporation, it is a separate and distinct entity, separate from its members, right? That's why we have a corporation. Class of stock, absolutely, you can issue more than one class of stock with a C corporation. Only with an S corporation you have a limitation that you should have only one class of stock. Taxation, hey, one of the major drawbacks of C corporation is that it is subject to double taxation. The entity pays tax and again the member also pays tax, right? Obviously, be it filing the annual reports or conducting the board meetings, filing the, all the other things, right? Employment taxes, excise taxes, all the other compliances are to be done. So if you look at this question, I'm sure you remember this, right? Pass-through entities. We discussed pass-through entities, right? What do the pass-through entities mean? The entities do not pay any tax. In pass-through entities, the entities do not pay any tax. The members pay the tax, right? So the tax burden of the entity after calculating, after netting off the expenses from the income, so whatever profit remains, that gets distributed to the members of this pass-through entity. So what are these pass-through entity? SPL. I told you that they have special tax treatment, right? SPL. What is that? S Corporation, a partnership, and a limited liability company with multiple members. These three are called as pass-through entities. Okay. Now, based on this understanding, let's take up this question. Now it says the tax advantage, right? It says the tax advantage of so and so. Okay. The tax advantage of so and so is that qualifying businesses is that qualifying right? So there are four four options here: LLCs, C corporation, personal service corporation, and then even if LLC has multiple members, so by default it will be treated as partnership. Okay, now when it comes to C corporation, A is the right answer, LLC, because something with multiple members, by default it will be treated as partnership. Okay, the next one, right? From a limited sole proprietorship and a dash are compatible. Now we have given four options. Okay, you see here limited partnership itself, it means that the liability is limited, right? The liability is limited. Now next one, family limited partnership. Now here also the liability is limited. Now general partnership. Now the question is, from a liability standpoint, which two are comparable, right? So you see, general partnership and a sole proprietorship is something that is comparable. General partnership and then sole proprietorship, these are the two which are comparable, right? So none of these choices you ignore. C, general partnership, is the right answer. Fine, let's take up the next question. This should be an easy question for you to crack. Everyone needs an EIN except who? Right. Everyone needs an EIN except who? Now, let's take a look here. The options that we have: an EIN is required for following entities except trust or estate. Certainly a trust or estate, it needs an EIN. Next, a sole proprietorship with no employees. The moment you say it's a sole proprietor, why do you think you need an EIN? Your SSN is more than sufficient. If you incorporated a business partnership, or C Corp, only then an EIN comes into picture. Otherwise, if you're a sole proprietor, is more than enough. But an employee, yes, if you are doing, promoting some employment plans, paying some excise taxes, promoting a retirement plan or something like that, you need a EIN. And partnership, yes, the moment you say it's a multiple member, yes, you need an EIN. Okay, so in this case, an EIN is required for following entities except it is B, sole proprietorship with no employees. Very good. Fine, let's take the next question. Yeah. Which of the following is not eligible to be a shareholder for a S corporation? Okay, I believe we discussed this already, right? Let me go up here. Yeah, fine. Chalo, which of the following is not required to be a shareholder for a S corporation? Okay, I think I told you in the class that you remember that abbreviation TIE, trusts or tax exempt organization, then individuals, and then estates, right? TIE. I think we wrote that TIE. Okay, so let's see if that is available here. Which of the following is not an eligible member? So who is an eligible member? TIE, right? Trust or tax exempt organization, then individuals, and then estates, right? Only these are eligible. Now in our case, let us see. Individuals, yes, TI में I है, right? Individuals. Then next one, estates, yes. Domestic partnership. Domestic partnership. The question is not eligible, so there is no P in TI, right? So domestic partnership looks like. Let's see the last question, last option. It says exempt organization described in so and so section. Okay, exempt organization. Obviously, right? TIE. So consider exempt organization as T, tax exempt organization. Okay, so the right answer here is C, domestic partnership. So that was on part 2. Okay, now let's get into part 3. Just 3 more questions and we're done. Very good. So happy to see you participate. So I think representation is something how we represent in case you receive the notice. Let's take up this question. Yeah. See, this is also something like an election. Like an election, you will come into ruling, only after 5 years. So these are all straightforward questions. So an EA who is disbarred, right? Disbarred from by the office of professional responsibility may seek reinstatement. Means he can come over again. I mean, he can start practicing or licensing, using his license after 5 years. So that's for explanation needed there. Fine. Let's get to the next question. Very important for all the future professionals, right? Take a look. Okay, fine. Let's look at this question. Okay, what are the grounds for censure, suspension, or disbarment, and/or the imposition of a monetary penalty? A practitioner is shown to be incompetent or disreputable. Obviously, that is a valid reason why you will be suspended or censured or disbarred. Right? Incompetent. If you are incompetent for this work, get lost. Then a practitioner who fails to comply with any part of Circular 230. Circular 230, right? So you next, practitioner with an intent to defraud, willingly and knowingly misleads or threatens a client. Oh, okay. So all these things will certainly amount to censure, suspension, or disbarment or monetary penalty. So be extremely careful when dealing with these things, right? So D, the last one is the right answer. Fine, the last question of the day. Very good. Thanks for putting up. So it's good for you. I'll take up the last question. Okay. Fine. This is a very straightforward question. Who presides over a hearing on a complaint for disbarment based on a violation of the laws or regulations governing practice? The Commissioner is tax court judge, the Secretary of the Treasury. No. The question on for disbarment regarding the law or regulation governing the practice. The administrative law judge who comes in. So good, very good. So B is the right answer. I think we have received some questions out here. And people who want to enroll, these are the details. You may want to take a screenshot of this, right? You can pick what you want. We just wanted to make sure that the course is available for everybody. And currently the business tax classes are on. And we are known for these, for EA course in the industry. So we encourage you to spread word. And also looks like we have received some questions here. Just a second. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today, and sorry for the disturbance that we had initially, and hearty welcome to all the people. Hi Nagendra, good to see you. Hi Alex, yes, thank you that the voice is clear now. So there is a new thing that we were trying to do today, so that we can give a better thing. But anything that starts with a negation or a disappointment, it always leads to innovation and improvement. So that's good. And thanks to our media partner Moments Photography also for doing its very best to make sure that this content is made available to you. Okay. So Obaid Jain has asked us a question: how to join Big Four accountancy after completing ACCA exemption? Okay, ACCA is completely different and EA is completely different, so we cannot compare both. ACCA is something more to do with the accountancy, and EA is something to do more with taxes, all about taxes. Okay, so EA is the complete tax professional, you can say. So hi Sneha, hi Lydia. So hi to all other people who have joined us, and I'm sure you would have liked today's session, and thank you very much for joining us today. And as I told you earlier also, we need 500 plus enrolled agents to be placed by this November, and the examination is also in November. So if you can enroll, or if you can help somebody enroll, it will be such a joy in creating employment, because all that I feel that you and I can do as an educated citizen of this nation is create employment, is to serve the country in one way or the other. And I think EA is something that gives you the right education that is relevant for the industry, right? So please be part of our vision in empowering this nation with the right education, employment and entrepreneurship. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us today, and I'll catch you next week. And please remember that every Tuesday and Thursday, T-Day is what we call. So every Tuesday I come live on iLead Tax LLC, which is our other business. And this is iLead Tax Academy. This is for our students. So please join, and it's all about US taxation only. So if you find it useful, please do like, share, comment, and please do share it with somebody you care for. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us today. Good night, and once again, a very, very happy Friendship Day. Take care. Bye-bye. Good night.